Here is one of our own dudes. His name is Yuval Noah Harari. He's a big intellectual on the far left, and he's written, these books, Homo Sapiens. He does not see Israel as godly. He's an Israeli, and he's a global leader in the anti-Israel and the anti-strong Israel consciousness. He really undermines Israel's position because he's an Israeli that all day long wants to see us be weak. Okay, so here's Yuval Noah Harari on the dangers of a strong Israel. Let's discuss that.
October the 7th, 2023 till now. Where does that fit? Is it footnote or chapter in the sweep of Jewish history?
I think it's could be one of the biggest turning points in Jewish history, maybe the biggest since the fall of the temple in 70 CE, since the Roman conquest, because Judaism has survived. It became the world champion in surviving catastrophes, but it never faced a catastrophe like we are dealing with right now, which is a spiritual catastrophe for Judaism itself.
Oh no, we're having a spiritual catastrophe! Oh my gosh, I thought we were doing so good. I thought 7 million Jews in the land of Israel, and the land of Israel reborn, our language Hebrew reborn, our economy reborn, our army reborn, our farming reborn, our technology and genius reborn, and people returning to Torah. I thought we're having one of the greatest spiritual times in a really long time, in 2,000 years. But Yuval Noah Harari says it's a spiritual catastrophe for Judaism itself. And what is that spiritual catastrophe that he's talking about? Jewish strength. Oh no! We can't just be like victims, surviving victims. We can't just be Woody Allen. We can't be that. He just wants us to be bookish and good and perfect and always living in somebody else's court. Oh no, he wants us to be, weak and good and moral, and he wants to do virtue signaling to no end. But the bane of his existence and that catastrophe is strong Jews holding on to their land, pushing back against their enemies, striking fear into their enemies. We don't want that. We want ghetto Judaism. That's the most beautiful Judaism, the one that we were just the good and small, and we were the Jiminy Cricket of the world. Now we're a nation state, and we have to make policies and issues and deal with bad guys. It's not always pretty. Oh no. We've become like a real nation state with power. There's nothing worse than Jewish power for people like Yuval Noah Harari.
Because what is happening right now in Israel could basically, I think, destroy, void 2,000 years of Jewish thinking and culture and existence.
He loves that ghetto Judaism. He doesn't want that destroyed. He wants the old kind of Judaism, the intellectual. He wants to be a middleman. He wants to be a banker and an accountant, and that good kind of Judaism where we were weak and we didn't have to take power over issues and people and get into the dirty business of statecraft. That was the good Judaism. Now it's going to be destroyed.
That the worst case scenario that we are facing right now. What we are facing is the potential of an ethnic cleansing campaign in Gaza and the West Bank.
We're not ethnically cleansing. We are jihad cleansing. Hello, people need jihad cleansing all over the world. They need it from American campus. They need it from England. They need it from Belgium. They need it from France and Paris. They need it from all the places. We need jihad cleansing. That's true. We need to take on the bad guys and look at them in the face right before they take over like Texas.
Resulting in the expulsion of 2 million, maybe more Palestinians from there. The establishment of Greater Israel.
No, not a Greater Israel, not a big Israel in its ancestral homeland, which is a tiny little state in the giant Arab Middle East. A greater Israel. Oh no, an Israel in Judea and Samaria in its ancestral homeland, the size of New Jersey. That's horrible. That's just awful. We don't want that greater Israel, which is like the size of New Jersey. We don't want that. We want a small Israel. We want a baby Israel. We want a ghetto Israel, a good and ghetto baby, tiny little Israel. That's what you want. Oh no, not a greater Israel. Big, bad, greater Israel. We don't want that.
The disintegration of Israeli democracy and the creation of a new Israel, which is based on an ideology of Jewish supremacy.
Habibi, let me tell you something, pal, buddy. Let me tell you something. Ethnic national states, of which there are many, including all the Arab countries around us and many other countries, there's nothing wrong with that. That's not supremacy. It's called nationalism. It means that your people live on your land and have a country to try to help your people get up and be successful. It's called a tribal country, an ethnic national state. There's nothing wrong with that. There's many countries like that. You know, like Ireland is like that, for God's sakes. They don't talk about it that way, but that's what it is. Poland is like that. There's many countries that try to help their peoplehood. Nothing wrong with that. It's like a family country. That's what it means. That's all it means. Oh, it's based on ideology of Jewish supremacy. It's not supremacy. It's just our little land. We've been persecuted for 2,000 years. I know you love that part of it. You love the persecuted Jews. Well, now we're trying to not be persecuted. He's like, but we need to be persecuted to be the good kind of Jew that I want to be. I want to be the persecuted Jew. Because that's what I understand. That's how I don't want like Jewish supremacy, i.e. Jewish strength, Jewish bigness, Jewish on the land, greater Israel. He's got all these fears. Notice all his fears are greater Israel or supreme Israel. He's afraid of a big Israel. He's afraid of Jewish power. He's allergic to Jewish power. He wants to be a baby little good Israel, little ghetto Israel. That's what he feels comfortable in.
And on the worship of what were completely anti-Jewish values for the last 2 millennia.
He means that he doesn't like it that when we're, as I say again, strong Jews, he says that's anti-Jewish values of the last 2,000 years. That's because we didn't have a country, bro. We didn't have the ability to be strong. We yearn to be strong. But you know what the problem is? Yuval Noah Harari, you don't read the sources. You don't understand who King David was. You don't understand who the Hasmoneans were. You don't understand Samson. You don't understand Jewish strength. You don't understand that Abraham defeated the 4 kings. You have no good sense of that. All you have a sense of is ghetto Judaism, okay? And by the way, the ghetto period was beautiful in its time. It had its place, okay? But I don't reject the diaspora, but I also don't make it into a god. You like make weakness into a god. You understand? I mean, like his whole attitude is that the diaspora is the better version of the Jewish people because it's clean and it's and you're the victim because he loves the victim thing. He's got like an attitude that if you're the victim, then you're the good, and if you're strong, you're necessarily the bad. It's making an idolatry out of weakness. We don't have that problem. It's true. We like the idea of a big, strong, beautiful Israel defending its people, strong against the enemies. We got no problem with that, but he does.
A country based on the worship of power and violence.
We worship power and violence. Actually, bro, we worship defense. We worship God. We don't worship, but we appreciate our nationalism. We appreciate our Bible. We appreciate our defense. We appreciate our peoplehood. And we appreciate that we've given finally the chance to not be victims. But he's like, no, not power. Look at the words. Not power. Violence is another way of saying defense, right? So he doesn't want power. He doesn't want defense. He doesn't want a greater Israel. And what else did he not want? Whatever. He wants everything that's powerful to be subdued so he can be good. He wants to be a pauper, the good pauper Jew, the good weak Jew, kissing up to the whatever, whoever was the czar and the whoever we had to be under the thumb. But that way we were oppressed and therefore necessarily good in his mind.
And which is militarily strong. It will survive. It will be militarily strong.
At least he understands that, right? That we will survive because of our military strength. Thank God for that.
It will have alliances with various bullies around the world. It will also be economically viable. And this will be the spiritual disaster.
Okay, at least he's getting that these things, that Israel is actually strong. It's economically viable and military strong. Hey, that sounds kind of good to me. Economically viable and militarily strong. And if they like us, great. If they don't like us, whatever, okay? But to him, that's like a spiritual disaster. He doesn't, by the way, explain why this is a spiritual disaster.
Because this will be the new Judaism.
Maybe he will know.
That all Jews in the world will have to deal with.
It's not the new Judaism, Yuval Noah Harari. It's the old Judaism. King David. David Melech, Melech Israel, David Melech, Melech Israel, David Melech, Melech Israel, Melech Israel, Chai v'kayam. King David is alive and well. Why do I get the feeling that Yuval Noah Harari never sings the song of King David, not even once in his life? He does not understand King David. He does not understand Jewish strength. He probably doesn't understand what Hanukkah means because he's into weak Judaism.
It will not disappear. Again, Jews are very good dealing with catastrophes from the Roman conquest to the Holocaust. But this will not be a military catastrophe. The state will actually be successful in military and economic terms.
So it will be successful in military and economic terms. The thing is, Yuval Noah Harari is a sad case because it is clear that he has not been able to shift into the Zionist gear. That's the bottom line. He's a Jew, an atheist, a guy who doesn't actually understand, as Yo writes here. He says he's an atheist dedicated 2 hours a day to meditation, participate in annual silent retreat. He's got all these values, but he doesn't understand the Bible. He doesn't understand Jewish history in any real sense. And he simply has not been able to shift gears into the gift of Zionism and the rebirth of the Jewish people in the land of Israel. He simply can't do it. He can't do it. And therefore, he is preaching what he says. But by the way, he wants the last 2,000 years of Judaism, but he doesn't want the Torah that was held up in the last 2,000 years of Judaism. And therefore, he's very confused because it's not like he understood that the last 2,000 years was this kind of aberration where we held on to the Torah of Jewish strength and wished for it and prayed for it every day, 3 times a day, right? He never understood that part. He only understood the weak Judaism, and he worships. He says, Yishai, you worship Jewish strength. And I say, Yuval, you worship Jewish weakness. You never understood the sources. You never understood the yearnings. And of course, you don't know how to go back to Second Temple period or First Temple period. You are stuck in Anatevka. You got an Anatevka perspective minus the tradition. Tradition. He doesn't understand what it is to talk to God. He doesn't understand what it is to yearn for the Holy Land. He doesn't understand. He's like in Anatevka, but without the tradition, without the Torah. And he worships because he created this new false god, called the weak Jew.
And it will make the challenge much, much bigger. No Jew, say in London or New York or anywhere else, will be able to say, this is not the real Judaism.
What he means to say by that is this is going to be the official Judaism, and he's right. It will be. He's smart. He understands that this is what's coming, but he thinks that it's a spiritual catastrophe. And I'd say it's a spiritual rebirth. I say we're going through a spiritual renaissance here in the land of Israel. There's nothing wrong with godly vision of a Jewish people returning to its land and being big, defeating its enemies, and being a light unto the nations and welcoming nations from the world.